The Gracious Quran, a modern phrased interpretation in English, Arabic English, parallel edition, Ahmad Zaki Hammad, does better than most in the translation itself. And the appendixes with those articles, it really excels. Probably better than 90% of them when we're talking about that. But there's one issue we have with the Arabic is that for the Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim for Surah 2 to 114, we do not have that. We have it as part of the Al-Fatiha. We have it as the verse in the middle of Al-Quran that has that phrase included, Surah 27, Ayat 30. We have the mentions of Zaqum, the stifling, which doesn't translate the word, and it doesn't translate the phrases in Surah 503, and leave it as is, but it does, in that case, give the term and a meaning for it right next to it. Honestly, I think that should be in an appendix or a footnote if you're going to do that, but this is an addition without a footnote. There are other words that most translators usually don't translate, and he did. Instead of saying immigrants, immigrants, or however you're supposed to pronounce that, might not be known to people, and that was not the best word choice. I think there's another couple word choices that more people would have understood better if that was made, but he's right that this is modernly phrased, so if you're at the reading level for it, then you're going to understand this. When it speaks about the sources of Islam, it focuses on Quran, which is important because the Quran itself says it's the final word of issues. But it doesn't, like a couple commentators, detract you from the Quran or detract you from the Hadith literature. It talks about the conveying of Islam, and through translation, either linguistically and otherwise, you could say those are my main tools with this. And it gives an example of a couple translations that I was actually unaware of that may appear in the future on this channel, namely Dehlawi Mirza Hayrat and Mirza Abdul Fadl. Do I have anything by W. Muir, or was that in a language other than English? Did I share Daryabadi? He doesn't ignore that Rashid Khalifa did the translation and analysis, and doesn't ignore the problems with that guy's claims. And there's talk about not all of them, obviously, but, some of the main commentaries and such of the Quran, pointing out that Al-Quran has been rendered into certain poetical or prose styles as far as the translations are concerned. We have talk of how there's some of the manuscripts made of Quran which by centuries, you have complete Quran manuscripts earlier than complete either New or Old Testament manuscripts that have survived. We have how the Quran is part of the real world in terms of creation or evolution, that sort of category, perception and understanding, issues to do with belief and worship, morality and stages, what makes Al-Quran unique, linguistically, meaning-wise, application-wise, how it relates to the Western tradition and other traditions, and of course how it's part of its own system.